I'll feel like I'm about to post something that's so vulnerable and so scary. And then overwhelmingly, the thing is, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. Thank you for saying this. I've been feeling this too. I really love telling stories to connect with people.
After about 15 minutes of watching Hallease Narvaez, you'll be hooked.
Something different.
Hitting that subscribe button, following her on social, tuning into her life. Like many others, she's growing a following through her YouTube channel. But what sets Hallease apart is unique to her. It is her. In all of her content, her humor, personality, and authenticity shines through. Each story that she tells includes a piece of her, and her audience relates. To do this consistently, there are a few intentional steps that she always takes.
In every story I tell, I try to create a connection with the audience. And I do that because that is really how people are gonna stick around. At the end of the day, I am a filmmaker and I do want people to stay and watch as much of the video as possible. And the big thing I focus on with creating connection is I wanna make you feel something. And I want to figure out how I can make sure you have some kind of emotional response. I think when you focus on creating connections and from the emotional lens in that way, you start to strip away all of these sort of physical differences that you may or may not have with your audience. Focusing on emotion to create connection rather than, hey, we're both in Texas, or hey, we're both fly fishing lovers, I think helps because emotion is universal. So an example of this is the film I did on my channel a while back called This Is Uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable. On the exterior, I know I seem fine. I wake up, I work, I don't raise my voice. The shift has been subtle, and I see it most in my relationships. The concept for this video originated with this feeling of discomfort that I was having pretty consistently. I just couldn't seem to do things right for the relationships in my life. I just found that I was really learning how to exist in relationships on top of transitioning into becoming a business owner. I think the question I ask in this film is just, is this normal? And that question, that theme immediately begins to create an emotional connection because it's a very relatable question to ask. I think everyone has moments of wondering, is what they're experiencing a normal thing to experience? I think some of the moments that build relatability in this particular film, in the beginning it's super abstract. It's super just like, whoa, what's happening? There's a train, she's balancing on tracks, what? There's a lot going on in the beginning. This quote, whoa, the quote talks about, the world will promise you comfort, but comfort is not guaranteed. I actually got this from a daily motivational. If you are a Christian, seeing a quote from a spiritual leader is relatable, right? So right off the bat, I'm saying, hey, I subscribe to a certain faith and I utilize understanding that faith within my life. So that's relatable. Another thing is that the first section of vlogging and how I lead into that with voiceover, on the surface I seem fine. I wake up, I work, I don't raise my voice. People I once felt a strong connection with are falling out of my life. Just juxtaposing that B-roll with my voiceover of here's what I'm actually going through, even though I'm sitting here fine, I think is very relatable to a lot of people. We all do this.
You start doing it and you love it, but there are moments where you're like, what the? What did I get myself into?
Now, with the interview that you see that I have with Jordan, who's also a business owner, these were conversations that her and I had been having during downtime at the co-working space that we both worked at the time. And I finally just kind of pulled her aside and said, hey, do you mind if we just have another variation of this conversation again, and I film us having it? You'll notice the way I film it is I make sure to be as non-obtrusive with the camera as possible. I would say from a traditional documentary point of view, she's not angled the best. She's not overly lit. There are no lights, I find that you want to maintain a level of authenticity in the conversation as much as possible. I try to use as minimal gear as possible, so that way people really hopefully try to ignore the camera and speak as honestly as possible. Again, I find that when people are comfortable, they are confident in what they say. So that helps to build that connection with the audience as well. I think something that's kind of universal is coping through comedy. So the piece is pretty heavy. It's a pretty heavy conversation. It's a pretty heavy topic. And whenever I'm talking about something pretty heavy, I make sure there are moments of just breath. And usually those moments of breath are in a comedic sense. So it's this weird balance of wanting to be amongst people, but not necessarily engage with people. That is one of the few ways that you can get people to talk about serious things, is by adding bits of humor. And so I think Jordan adds a lot of humor to the piece.
Like in high school, I used to tell people like the last day of school, like I'll holler at y'all day one of class. This is my vacation from you.
So her talking about when she was in high school and needing to take I need to take a break from you. Even sometimes it's about as simple as smiling while you're talking about something hard. During the vlogging style portion of the video, I'm smiling while I'm talking about all of that. That is a subtle cue to help people feel more comfortable in this uncomfortable topic. So what do I do now as I watch the life I knew go loudly crashing into the grave, and I move forward on this sturdy but narrow path without it? What do I do? So if you're someone who's trying to create connection through story, a few tips I would give to you would be to document everything, because the more you get comfortable holding the camera, the more people begin to be true to who they actually are around you with the camera still in your hand. The second thing I would say is talk to the camera a lot and be candid about how you feel. It gives you a level of self-awareness that I think is really good as well when telling stories and trying to connect to people. The final thing I would say is whenever you are just filming everything and you know there really isn't technically a purpose yet to what you're filming, try to film variety in that. Think abstractly. Let things be off kilter. Let things be out of frame a little bit. Let things have space. Think about how you can translate emotion or translate discomfort or translate whatever your theme is into literally how you're filming. I love being a storyteller because it is my form of therapy. It is my art. It is the way I express myself. So I just love being able to document my feelings and emotions and see how other people do or don't react to it. The greatest joy I get from a lot of the stories I create is the comments section, is the community that I have built on my platform, because a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, I'll feel like I'm about to post something that's so vulnerable and so scary and oh my God, what are people gonna think, and all of that. Overwhelmingly, the thing is, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. Thank you for saying this. I've been feeling this too, and I've been trying to work through it, and I didn't know how to work through it, and you don't either, and that is so helpful that it's not just me, you know? So I really love telling stories to connect with people. I love that there really isn't anything that I can feel that someone else somewhere has never felt before. And that's what I love the most about being a storyteller.